This past week was the 2023 Pebble Beach Concours Elegance. Is that
I
pretentious
don't think that's how
enough?
you say it. But
No.
the
Car Week.
concourse,
Car Week. We all call
henceforth
it
referred to as the concourse or
or the
Pebble
concourse
Beach, or I
or
don't want to
Pebble
go.
Beach or Monterey, or as Craig said, I don't want to go. And we're pleased to have Eileen Falkenberg-Hull from Newsweek. She runs the auto section over there and is generally a cool person. And she was there, so she can tell us all about the champagne that she drank, the costumes and outfits that she saw, and probably some cars. But Eileen, if you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit about, since I haven't been and it's been a while since Craig's been there, what is Pebble Beach? Why is it cool? Why is it significant? Why, I mean, not to be accusatory, but why were you there? What's the deal?
Well, you can accuse me of wanting to go and drink champagne on a golf course any day of the week because the answer is yes,
Fair.
especially if there's cars involved. So the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance is part of it. It's a key part, but it's one big part of Monterey Car Week. And Monterey Car Week takes place on the Monterey Peninsula in California. It is all inclusive of events, hallmark events such as the Concours and as the Quail, a motorsports gathering. But it also includes things like Lamborghini get-togethers and heritage races at Laguna Seca and a bunch of other things and a lot of partying. Let's be honest, there's a lot of parties and a lot of city and traffic and a lot of champagne drinking at every corner. So I go there because I want to cover the cars, cover the whole scene in general, but also it's a really great opportunity for me to get FaceTime with executives. We're seeing that events like this where audiences are able to be consistently made up of enthusiasts and specifically very targeted brand customers, especially for the luxury brands. We're seeing that those brands are actually putting their advertising and marketing dollars into these events as opposed to traditional auto shows like the Detroit, the New York, LA auto shows. And so that's why I was there, to get FaceTime with executives, to enjoy some champagne, to see some cool cars, and to generally just enjoy being part of a fabulous industry that we spend all of our time in.
And the last day of the event, they pick their car of the show, their winner, their best of show.
Well, the Pebble Beach
The Pebble Beach,
Concours
yes.
is a one-day event, and that is a traditional Concours. They have a best in show. They have class winners, just as say the Detroit Concours that Newsweek is sponsoring here in a few weeks in September in Detroit. That just as that show will as well.
We should probably drop a link in the description later for that.
We should.
Or just come to
you dressed like a bird, Eileen, because fashion is a major component of the concourse. And by fashion, I mean bad fashion.
So I was not dressed like a bird. I was very fortunate. I've been going for a number of years. My very first year, a very kind public relations representative named Valentine Oldham, who we all know, yes. Aston Martin. She extended me an invitation and then said, "Would you like to know what to wear?" And I got out my notepad and I took notes because for every event there is a kind of a celebrated decor and a different style that you should wear to fit in or blend in. When you're at the Quail, a motorsports gathering, you are going to wear something that is more fun and festive and bright colored. It's all outdoor, but it's also much more of a relaxed environment. When you're at Pebble Beach Concours, you're going to wear something much more formal and traditionally something that is white. That is actually Valentine always told me that's how you know you've been there a while. But this year I didn't see quite as much white, so I'm hoping next year that means I don't have to wear a white dress because I'm always worried about spilling champagne on it, which is a very, very first world problem.
That's why everybody wears salmon colored pants.
Maybe next year I'll wear salmon colored pants. I don't know. I feel like it's an occasion to get out a hat. I don't wear a hat. I don't look good in a hat. But wear a hat, wear a dress, wear your suit, wear outrageous colors. I saw a number of people wearing a number of things that fit them 5 years ago. Maybe 10. I also saw a number of people who were dressed to match their car. And that was actually kind of cool this year. You spoke to
like
salmon
5 years ago.
Yeah,
she looks like a sausage casing. She's wearing it's so tight.
COVID was hard on some people. So it was one of those things where it was some people matched their cars, but this year there was some really cool car colors that you don't usually see. There was a yellow cord, there was a salmon colored boat. I forget what it was called, a Debonair, I believe it was. But there was a number of different kind of cool colored cars, and normally Concours cars are much more along the black, silver, white, kind of those more traditional car colors, dark blues and green. So it was nice to see some color, not just among the costumes, but also among the cars. Yes, there was a best in show, Chad, to answer your question in the very long way.
And while it's not relevant necessarily to our audience, it was a 1937 Mercedes-Benz 540K Special Roadster, which is an improvement over last year's winning car, which was owned by Adolf Hitler. Out
Not
of
at the
the
time of its winning.
no, not at the time of its winning. I saw some interesting stats that recently that a very large percentage of Concours winners at Pebble Beach fall in the 1930s. Germany.
Well, I mean, it's a classic car design era. I mean, Craig, you can speak to this as an enthusiast of that era. I mean, there are beautiful, significant designs of cars that happened in the 30s, where proportion still carries over to inspire cars today.
They weren't constrained by safety or fuel economy. They just made stuff that looked cool.
Right.
And
beautiful and spacious.
That defined in a lot of ways what a car should look like.
And just to establish, Craig is not a Nazi. I just thought I'd throw that out there. But he's not that I'm aware of. He does have a 36 Ford though.
Dude.
There's a lot
and
of
Henry Ford could have been a Nazi, he had tendencies, let's just say.
But actually it's a fun thing about Craig that I don't know if a lot of people know. He's on his YouTube channel. He has his own channel and he's got some drive videos of his 36 Ford. But it's interesting because people will come onto the YouTube channel, some of our non-regulars, and say, oh, there's no way Craig's a car guy. And I'm like, you don't know Craig because he restored that car basically himself with his dad. And it's super cool. I've gotten to go for a ride in it. It's fun. Though I feel like I need to wear a pinstripe suit and carry a violin or a cello case with a Tommy gun in it. But it's
I would like to see you in a pinstripe suit. I don't think I've known you for a decade and I've never seen you in pretty much anything but jeans and a t-shirt.
The first hey, there's Craig's car.
There we go.
The first time I go to Pebble Beach, I will wear a pinstripe suit.
I don't think you should do that.
Well, I don't know if I'm ever going to go to Pebble Beach. I'll just send Craig so he can see people in sweatpants.
How was this year's Scramble of the Vagrants? They always let the derelicts out and then they throw canned goods. It's one of the cornerstone events.
I will say I didn't go into I didn't really go into Monterey proper. I only went to downtown Monterey to go to a steakhouse. So I didn't spend a lot of time amongst the regular
scramble. Okay.
I missed the
scramble. So they bust them in.
No. Actually, we bust them out for this. It's kind of like to a different part of the county for the week, nearer the Target, the Target Dick's Corner, and we leave them there, and we just enjoy.
Were you one of the 90+ speeding tickets that were given out last week?
I have never been a speeding ticket, but if I were, I would not have been given out last week. Not to me. No, I did not. I did exceed the speed limit a number of times, but I did so in safe zones.
The highest speed recorded in the tunnel was 93 miles an hour, according to Monterey Police.
Well, here's the thing.
She had too much champagne to drive.
All I'm saying is go to thedrive.com. We all know Jerry Perez, our friend Jerry. Yes. He wrote a story today about speeding tickets at Monterey.
So I would just like to say this. If you speed at Monterey, you're a moron. And there's like no question about that because there are police everywhere and they sit in the same spot. And I swear they fund their benevolent fund every year based on Monterey because they are everywhere and they're not exactly hiding. They're clear streets. You know, they're in the tunnel. There's like 7 of them. You can see them pulling people over ahead of you. Their lights shine down the tunnel. Like you have to be a complete idiot. I don't care whatever your machismo
is it idiocy or just FU levels of money? Oh, I don't care. I'm getting a $100 ticket or whatever.
Probably a little of both.
I don't know. I think it's just ridiculous. But when you speed like that, and the tunnel is, for those who don't know, it is going into Monterey. It is a close quarters tunnel. It's 2 lanes. And when you pop out, you're right in downtown where the tourists are. It's very pedestrian heavy. And so, yeah, speed could kill in that instance, not just for the cars around you, for the people around you. So it is a very important area to pay attention and to adhere to the speed limits. And that's probably why it's most heavily enforced. But like, just don't be stupid.
It's Eileen Falkenberg-Hull, Newsweek. Don't be stupid.
Yeah,
it's a good motto for life.
Yeah,
it is a good motto for life. And wife, I suppose.
And for your wife, you don't have a wife.
Your wife. No, yeah. I don't. But I'm sure your husband has that as his motto for you. So
yeah, he often tells me to not be stupid. That goes over real well in our house.
Craig, let's talk about some EVs that debuted at Monterey.
Were there any?
A couple. I was told. I did some last minute homework cramming and came up with a few.
You want to talk about a Lamborghini?
Yes, I do. Because
the Lazarus, I keep wanting to call it the Lanzador.
Lazarus. Eileen, how do you pronounce it?
the Lanzador, the Lamborghini Lanzador.
Yeah, is this after a bull, after wind? Like, what's its deal? Did he tell you what it's named after?
No, but I can tell you why it's cool, and I can tell you why it's a Lamborghini if you really want.
Actually, let's do that instead of obsess over a name.
Okay, so I spent like half an hour with the head designer, and he's amazing. I've interviewed him many times before, and his big thing is he wants every Lamborghini of the future. Today, he's worked on some of the past, but he's really the new designers leading them to this new era. He says there's one line that if you look at every Lamborghini from the side, you will see this one line, and it kind of goes over the top. I'm gonna draw it here, like over the top and straight and around. And from a distance, they all have that center line of tension. So he says if you're an enthusiast or you're a kid, you should be able to look at that line and see that's a Lamborghini. So as we look at this isn't a definitive model for the future, but it is a pretty realistic depiction of what's going to be coming on the road ahead. But you can really see here the Urus kind of in the back and in the front, the Couchage in the back. But you can also see how they were working on the Huracan Storado at the same time. Out of that Huracan that sits upright, it's got the cool off-roady lights on it. You can see how it's in that pilot position, and the Huracan Storado really pulls into this model here. And so that's what it is. It's the EV of the future. And they had a kiteboard inside of it, which was actually really cool. Like you can fit a kiteboard inside of a Lamborghini, which that's not an Urus. So that's a nice thing. I like that.
Right. And it doesn't have a naturally aspirated V10.
No, it's all electric. It's a BEV.
It is all electric, which is cool. Did they say, I mean, obviously this is just, is it really even fair to call it a prototype? Is it a design study? Like what were they kind of officially calling it?
It is a preview of a future electric vehicle.
Yeah, right.
That narrows it
down. I think you can safely say that there is something very similar to this coming 2028.
That seems.
We know the timeline. They've laid out their timeline.
Yeah.
We know what's coming. We know that they have a gap in their lineup when it comes to something that's in between the Urus and the Huracan.
Yep.
Aventador's gone. We know Revuelto is going. So there's room there. And certainly this is something when you look at it as a 2+2, you look at it as empty nesters or young couples or even couples without their kids. Their kids certainly fit, but without their kids, it becomes a very attractive proposition for Lamborghini owners. And now that Lamborghini's built out their service network, it becomes an even more attractive proposition as a daily driver vehicle, which as Ferrari has done, right? Like Ferrari has their P car I can't ever pronounce. And
Paraswing, Paraswang, Paramiso.
They've got that. And so like that's an everyday car, and that's expanding the Ferrari lineup. So I think we're going to see something very similar come out of Lamborghini as an EV.
It's just like the German automakers. One, I forget, I think it was BMW with the X6. They made the 4-door coupe. And then suddenly every other automaker has to have one of those. Some deflated SUV that's less practical and or less attractive.
This is actually a coupe. Like I always refer to like the X6 and the X4 as a high riding hatchback. I will be absolutely damned if I'm going to call it a coupe, because it is not. No. And I'm sorry, but I just won't. It's a high riding hatchback. And I stand firm. Huzzah.
I think it looks cool. The preview color they have is actually fairly subtle for Lamborghini. It probably looks better in person, but I dig it. I could see it in like orange or green or something. We'll have to buy one for the channel because we'll be flowing in cash by 2028. So,
and no output numbers, no battery size. This is just a design study.
No, there wasn't anything like that, and I think you're going to see the pointers from that coming from Volkswagen Group. We're obviously going to see that down the line. But I will say they're really big on talking about the sustainability in this car. And that's something that Lamborghini talks about a lot, but people don't listen to, especially because of their engines. But they have a ton of really cool sustainability elements to this car, including 3D printed fabric for the seats that include logos. They've got some new materials. And they're really big on recycling their leathers and other sourcing their leathers and things like that. They're also, for this car, everything is sourced within Italy. So that localization of materials is a big part of sustainability. And so they really are playing on that. And Lamborghini is surprisingly sustainability focused for, its history and what is under the hood of its traditional cars today.
Sure. But I mean, like, I haven't driven a Revuelto. I believe you probably have at this point, Eileen.
I have not. They are not available yet.
Oh, that's lame. But they're clearly, I mean, they're clearly still heritage focused. I mean, it still has a V12, but it's a PHEV. And the cool thing about Lamborghini is they can pull from a very large Volkswagen in terms of technology. And I think they've done a reasonably good job at still making a Lamborghini a Lamborghini. I don't know a lot of people that think of the Huracan as an R8 that's $100,000 more expensive. I think most people think it has its own personality. So it's cool. I think that they could have an opportunity to really do something pretty cool. And Ferrari is, you know, we talked about the Pumpernickel, the Pumpernickel earlier, but that's a straight just V12. That's nothing other than maybe a 48-volt assist, where this is a full proper EV. Yeah, it's a few years out yet, but it's cool. I dig it. I like it. Craig, what do you think? Company car, 2028.
I mean, sure. I mean, maybe maybe they'll have like recyclable batteries. We can partner with Energizer or something and just swap them out like AA.
Okay. How far do you think a AA could go? Yeah.
That's a good question. Couple feet.
That's probably a video idea at some point. This next one's probably my favorite of the show.
Not at this price. No, not gonna do it.
Well, the reservation's only $500, so there you go. Which is the Meyers Manx Resorter NEV, which Meyers Manx makes dune buggies, but this is a 4-5 seat off-road dune, not street legal, electric cool thing. Yes, it has a top speed of 25 miles an hour, so no, that doesn't make it a car per se. But for just $500 and then $49,000 later, you can have one of these. I just think it's cool. I don't know if it's practical. I don't even know if Eileen walked by and saw it, but I think it's cool.
So I will say they did not, as far as I know, actually debut this at anything. This was just kind of like an off the side sort of thing.
Their press releases lie then.
Yeah. Oh, maybe they did. I don't.
Is that the first time a press release has been misleading? Huh.
Yeah. No, I honestly I don't know a lot about how they debuted this. I know my friend Laura went, but that's about all I know. I will say this: I find this to be extremely practical as a mode of transportation. I live in the South. I live in Atlanta, and a lot of the cities down here, not Atlanta proper, but a lot of the suburbs allow you to drive your golf cart and things like that on the road. Get around your neighborhood. We have a lot of neighborhood pools around here. And I think this is such a much better version of a golf cart. I mean, you can get to your pool. You've got the shade. You've got style. You can act like you're Steve McQueen. I think that
what does the Resorter NEV do that an E-Z-Go can't? For much less.
Have you looked at how much E-Z-Gos are these days? It's really, I mean, you could go buy a first gen Leaf, cut the roof off, rip out all the interior and seats and stuff like that, and basically make like a dune buggy golf cart sort of thing for about half the price of a new E-Z-Go, and have about the same range.
Still be a Leaf.
No one would still be a Leaf.
But nobody really wants a E-Z-Go either.
I don't know. I think it's timeless. I think it looks awesome.
No, this is cool.
100% all for it.
But you're paying nearly $2,000 per mile per hour that it will go.
But you're using
not a good deal.
Times over, so then you keep getting it cut down
from Hanna-Barbera. Sorry.
Yes. It does have a bit of that vibe. Like, you know, I need kind of like a Bronto sandwich, Brontosaurus sandwich.
Ribs being brought to the side and it tips over. Yeah.
I think it's cool. It's a lot of money, but
I can't get behind this. I respectfully disagree with both of you because you're wrong.
Okay, well then, Craig's gonna get booted from this conversation. Thanks.
Eileen's just like,
I don't care. Your opinion doesn't matter.
Well, all right, Craig, how do you feel about a 75% sized Bentley blower that's all electric?
This would have been cool if I were like 12, but I don't know.
So the little
it looks like they did a very nice job building this. It's hard.
The little car company worked with Bentley to basically create a 85% scale Bentley blower from 1929. So hey, talking about the 20s and 30s earlier. Okay, so first off, I think talking a little bit about this particular thing, I think it's cool. I also think electrification is a really interesting way to take older cars. Maybe not something as iconic as a 29 Bentley blower, but to really give sort of new life and reliability to certain older cars. So, Eileen, thoughts?
One is that is something that Robert Downey Jr. does, is he has a collection of old cars that he has electrified. Our good friend, my good friend, photographer James Lippman, was out there photographing him recently. You can check out his Instagram feed, James Lippman. He has pictures of it up that I think he put up today of Robert Downey Jr. and his fleet of particularly 60s and 70s era vehicles that are electrified. It's very cool. They all look very cool. He did a great job with them. He has plenty of money to do that thanks to Iron Man. But
he does.
That,
thank you, Marvel/Disney.
So I actually have been to the Bentley factory when they are building these blowers and seen the craftsmanship that goes into them, not the juniors, but the regular blowers. And pictures just don't do that car justice. It is just really something to see the level of care and precision with the traditional blowers and how they are building them now and what goes into that and the traditional methods they're using. It's truly just something we don't see today, right? Unless you tune into certain channel, you turn to Motor Trend, right? Like on the weekend and catch some of those shows when they do their marathons. But it is so cool to see these cars. And I think it's a really neat way to keep kids interested in cars. Like we can talk about how you can have, like the fake Range Rover or the fake G-Wagon and you're from much smaller price, obviously, all electric for little kids at Walmart or wherever or Costco. But I think it's a really cool way to get kids behind the wheel, whether it's in something, really expensive at like this or even those smaller vehicles. Or I did see I believe it was a Shih Tzu behind the wheel of a Pagani.
This is a family show. You can't say that.
Maybe it was a Pomeranian. I don't know. Okay. They all blend together for me. All those little dogs, they're just things that, they just yap. They're yappy dogs. That's where we are with that. But I think it's really cool. I think it's fun that they do this, right? I think it's cool because nobody else is doing it. I think it's a really neat thing. I wish that I could have one. Like I would like to have one of those in the Meyers Manx to go to the pool in.
What is the use case? Is this a neighborhood electric vehicle as well?
So
that's just $18 million or whatever they're charging.
It probably won't be street legal in the United States, though there are interesting rules in Europe, which is sort of how the Citroën i-MiEV can exist. This little car company, they make little cars. What a great name. It has a 15 kilowatts of power, which I haven't done the math on what that is in old money, but a top speed of 45 miles an hour. That's pretty quick for anything without a windshield. So, and Eileen, I think you make it actually an extremely good point about youth in kids and the continuation of car culture. I think that outside of we're sort of all exposed to sort of YouTubers and content creators and what they buy, which tend to be either Teslas or Lamborghinis. Like that's sort of like the two main.
Or Rivians. A lot of Rivians.
Yeah, Rivian now. Yeah. This is an interesting way to maybe get kids interested. I mean, I would rock this. I'd drive it on the street and be like, hey, pull me over. And I would find glasses just like that. And, I would just, I like that whole vibe. And the Bentley blower is such a fantastic car. Absolutely. I think it's just, it's very cool, especially in British Racing Green, which isn't the only car we're going to talk about that's British Racing Green for this, but it is the one that I actually like. So
the craftsmanship on this thing looks amazing, as it should be for the price they're asking, which we don't know. They don't appear to show one on the website, but I'm sure it will be very expensive.
Well, there's an inquire box.
Exactly. When they say inquire,
If you need to ask, you can't afford it. That's the general rule. Now, I did see when we were in the factory looking at the traditional blower, I watched them put together a seat. And I know it's not this blower junior, but they actually had the wood they were bending under the heat and the steam. And it was a traditional method of doing it. And the way they were binding it to get it the exact curvature of the seat for this one car. And they're only making 10. So like what they have to do and how they were hand wrapping the leather and just the way they're putting the rivets in. And it's just fascinating to watch that type of craftsmanship. I mean, we've all been to factories. We've all seen them build cars. And even like, you can't tell me that the UAW is going to do that with the Celestiq. Like they're going to hand build it, but it's just not going to be, it's just not that old timey, cool sort of stuff like we see today. There will be 3D printing. There'll be new techniques used. And this is just cool. It's a different era.
Richard in the chat has been quite active with the bangers. But he did answer the question, Craig, I think of what's the use case for one of these?
Yes.
You don't feel like walking to the mailbox.
I mean, right?
I mean, even if your mailbox is only a 15-step walk away, I would totally go out, unplug my blower junior, get in it, start it right out there, grab the
He's
mail.
also asking if the wood is Norm Abram approved. So.
Oh, I love Norm. Norm's amazing. I love that show. Oh my gosh. Norm
the new Yankee Workshop, if you don't know.
Yes, he would love visiting the factory. I'm sure of it. I think that he would I think all the guys on that show would really appreciate the craftsmanship that goes into a blower.
Eileen, make sure to read, understand, and follow all of the safety rules that come with your power tools, okay? Knowing how to use them properly will greatly reduce the risk of personal injury.
I will say that
safety glasses.
Norm's taught me about dovetails more than anyone else in my life. So I have that. I have that, and how to make them and how to craft them. I owe that all to Norm.
You should pitch Norm. Be like, hey, let's go to the Bentley factory. That could be a good Newsweek story.
I don't see why not.
I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just
the Norm have a publicist. I don't know.
I know Kevin O'Connor does. I know. I'm sure we can get.
Maybe we could get like a cage fight with Norm and Bob Vila. There we go. Oh, there he is, man of the hour.
Look at that.
He looks old.
They're all getting up there, man.
Yeah,
I mean, the Silkins are bringing in brothers and other generations, and it's a whole new world over there.
Well, I just remember him from like the 90s, and he was Norm. That's Norm, but it's like a different Norm. But it looks like he has all his fingers. So
far, so good.
Yes, he followed his own advice by reading and understanding.
Well, that's very good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back to Champagne.
Old house happy hour.
I was gonna say, as wholesome as this is, let's take it back to Champagne. And the Pininfarina B95. But before we talk about that, I just have to address Richard's most recent comment, which is he says he looks younger than your hands, Craig. So maybe you should show your hands, Craig. Put those up there. Yeah. So.
Do you have old looking hands?
Somebody else had a comment recently, Craig, about you being old
hands, and I don't think your hands they're all old, are they? I don't know.
They have been aged as he's been working for us.
Yes.
Oh well, maybe he needs to put those on OnlyFans and earn some extra money.
I'm telling you, he needs to put his feet there.
Want to see gnarly old hands.
Pininfarina, yeah. Woo! What is Pininfarina, Eileen? Are they a design company? Are they a car builder?
Are you earnestly asking me to give you the history of Pininfarina? Because I can't.
I mean, not the whole history, but could you give me like the?
That's when you go to Wikipedia and you say.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have a good idea, but sometimes they're for the people that may not know, like they're badged on the side of Ferraris, but then at the same time they're also their own thing. Like, well, what are they?
I will give you the same speech I gave to my Cullinan driver this weekend when he was chartering me back and asked what they were. So, as one does. So he was asking me, what is a Pininfarina? And the answer is, who is a Pininfarina? Pininfarina was a famous car designer. He designed the bodies of many race cars and many cars that went into production in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. And he had very famous designers that worked under his Pininfarina brand. And a lot of those designs, just like the cars of the 30s we talked about earlier, are moving into the sports cars of today. You can see the roots coming from those 60s and 70s and 50s era cars. So Pininfarina today is a design house. It is a low-level manufacturer, not low-level, low-quantity manufacturer of very expensive cars, very expensive electric cars. This is kind of the first time on their own they've really had a brand of vehicle. And so they have the Pininfarina Battista, which is kind of their first foray. This is the B95. This is their second foray. very different, but all incredibly powerful. I believe the Batista has almost 2,000 horsepower. I mean, it's just insane, but it is a beautifully crafted vehicle, really doing the heritage of Pininfarina right.
But not John Baptiste from Stay Human, the artist.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. Anyways, this car, it's all electric.
And very
Yes.
exotic.
Very, very exotic. So this is their first real electric foray. I mean, they're going to sell every single one that they make because these are such small manufacturers. So probably not worth asking, hey, how do you think this will do? But what are they maybe doing? I don't say different, but like what makes the B95 stand out from the Batista and sort of other Pininfarina projects of the past, would you say?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's power. It is all electric. It is sleeker. And I do feel like this Pininfarina, like putting out a car that doesn't have a windscreen is kind of like a badge of supercar honor, right? You've got other cars that have done it, and they're all absurdly expensive. There's been Aston Martins that have done it. There's Ferraris. There's Lamborghinis without that, and they're not street legal, at least in the U.S. But it's just kind of one of those really cool, rare things that true supercars really put out. Supercar manufacturers put out. It's just, like I said, a badge of honor. And honestly, I love the way that this has no windscreen obstructing those plaid seats or herringbone seats. I guess a herringbone.
Yeah.
They're like University of Alabama. They're very cool.
Or is it a houndstooth?
I mean,
It doesn't
Not to derail the conversation, Eileen.
Yeah.
But yeah. I
I've got
mean,
Google on. Oh, you know what? You might be right with the houndstooth. I'll give you houndstooth.
I think houndstooth is probably a trademark. Somebody probably owns it as houndstooth. So,
But it's actually not a trademark. But in French, it's pied de pou, which means hen's foot. So I shall call it the hen's foot, not the hound's foot.
Okay. Today on French with Eileen,
I did murder some French there.
Concours d'Elegance.
yes, the concourse de elegance.
D'elegance.
Elegance.
The seats.
Way to go.
Seats are cool. No windshield's cool. There are some communities in the United States. One that I'm familiar with in the greater Miami area that has a lot of private roads leading up to their mansions, to where then you could drive a car like this. Yeah, it can't go out on the highway, but you could go check your mail in it, which is pretty cool. I like the design of the wing mirrors. Because it still has sort of like the top part that kind of looks like maybe it would be connected if there was an A-pillar and a windshield, but it just kind of floats out there, just kind of like a wing. And I know it's purposeful. I know that in a wind tunnel somewhere, they're like, no, we got to leave. If we leave this flap on here, we can cheat the air in some way. But no, it's cool. I love it. I like taking windshields off cars.
A car that can do almost 200 miles an hour, not having a windshield seems like a really bad idea.
Which is why it's awesome.
So, Chad, what's the fastest you ever have gone in a car without a windshield?
Without a windshield?
None.
You've never been in a car without a windshield?
I mean, I don't think I've ever driven a car
like a proper
without
car
a windshield.
like a proper car without a windshield. I've driven
Yeah,
a
like
car.
golf cart.
Yeah.
I've
We
driven
can
a
talk
car
club car.
with a few cracked windshields that are pretty.
That's
probably
so I've
more
driven
dangerous.
the Ford Bronco DR
Mm.
without a windshield.
Oh yeah.
100 miles an hour across a lake bed. And can I tell you, first of all, breezy and chilly.
Yeah.
And second of all, there's just nothing like that. Like I'm not a motorcycle person, so I guess like motorcyclists would be more used to it. But like that's just really cool. It's just really cool feeling to not have it. And granted, like I had a full safety harness and
Yeah,
Sure.
you better.
Yeah. I signed a
Yeah.
waiver. It was fine.
I also think like I mean I'm a cager for life. I'm not. I mean I appreciate people that ride motorcycles. That's the term, a motorcycle term for people who drive cars. You're in a cage,
Oh,
so you're a
I'm
cager.
glad it doesn't mean you have women in your basement.
Not that I'm aware of. But
Is that a crime? What?
Wait, is that illegal?
I checked.
I guess it varies by jurisdiction. I don't know.
The doors also don't open. I mean, like they open supercar proper on this too, which is also cool when there's no roof or A-pillar or windshield. So
You should just climb in over the side. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but then you
The
gotta
whole
be able.
car, look at the whole car, Eileen. Come on.
All right. But I'm just saying, like, they could have saved money on the doors. Like, it's not like you need a fire exit. You just climb up the top.
Everything that they take off costs money. So they remove the windshield. And it costs
No,
money.
but you're building it from scratch. They're only making like 10 of them.
Yeah,
So they're
but I
hand
mean,
built. So it doesn't matter if you just take something off.
yeah, okay. I was trying to make a small joke, and clearly it doesn't.
Sorry.
But speaking of no jokes, Acura, their first EV. Woo! Is it worth
Yeah.
getting excited about? Acura debuted the ZDX. Top line stuff, Craig. You wrote the story for our website on that.
Oh crap! I have to go and remember what I wrote.
And I don't remember anything. Well, you know what platform it's on at least. I don't expect you to have horsepower.
Yes, it should
and
be.
stuff.
It's an Ultium vehicle basically. So the GM platform, which it's always very unclear what exactly Ultium is. Is it the battery design? Is it the battery architecture? Is it the actual vehicle structure? Because then like the Hummer is Ultium, but then so is the Lyric, right?
Right.
So it's kind of this amorphous term.
It's called marketing, Craig.
For a product that can't be built apparently because they have all these Ultium branded vehicles, right? But where are they? You can't. There are hardly any available in the market right now.
So the Honda Prologue will also be on this platform,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep.
They are one-offs though. They are the one and only that they will be building there. From there out, it'll be more of a Honda customized electric vehicle. So this is one of those get it while it's hot, like the first gen ZDX. Like this is if you can get one, if they can make them, get it while it's hot. I mean, I think it's a really great look into the future of Acura, especially when it comes to electric power, how they are pushing the envelope with horsepower and grip and all sorts of things. But and it kind of stays true to Acura's roots. I mean, if you look back before they got boring and then they started to get a little bit more exciting, they were more performance focused, and I think this carries through with that.
And there's a Type S version of this, which falls in line with their more recent higher performance badging.
Correct.
500 horsepower they're estimating.
Yeah.
102 kilowatt hour battery pack. So basically think of this as a Cadillac Lyric because the wheelbase is the same and the overall length, if memory serves, is like 1/10 of an inch different, something like that.
But why would you want the Acura? Because you'll be able to get Apple CarPlay with it. As GM has made the decision to do away with CarPlay for quote unquote reasons. Quote unquote reasons.
Yeah.
This Acura will retain that because it is a software decision, and Acura decided to keep it. Also interesting, this is a B&O stereo. Acura recently dropped ELS, so this will be their first application of that. I think it looks okay, maybe because I've seen so much Lyric. I actually saw new Lyrics today on a truck carrier. I was shocked.
So they can build them. I stand corrected.
Apparently.
One truckload, Craig.
Yeah.
One truckload.
Well, there were only two on it.
To the airport because that's the only
only
place
two on the truck.
Yeah.
I would like to point out it wasn't a truckload. There were two on the truck. But I see a lot of Lyric in it, so maybe I'm not the best eyes. Did you see it in person, Eileen? And then, like, is that sort of the vibe you're getting? Like, what's the...
So, yes,
how is it in person?
Yes, I saw it in person. I wanted more from the design than I was getting. I liked the prototype they showed last year a little bit better. I think that that's more Acura forward, but I understand the restrictions they were working with here. I also just freaking hate the underside of that like fake chrome cladding.
Oh yeah.
Just the way, like, it gives me very MKT vibes with that, and like hearse ready vibes with that chrome line to the roof that goes to the back. Like all they need is like the little like paisley thing around the side and just,
the Landau bars.
Yes, like it's ready to go for your Acura hearse. That's the way I see it.
Well, somebody's gonna have to take over for that market once these all become EVs. So
I mean, and that's where the Lyric is. They're all at the airport. They're all at LAX. They're ready for you. They're taking over for the MKT left and right. But I just like I wanted to like it more, and I think I would, because I really do like the new MDX design and the RDX design and the TLX and all that jazz. And this is just like, I mean, it's got the hallmarks of an Acura, but I'm just like it's gonna be zippy, but like from it, I don't get like cool, sexy vibes, which is what I want to get from an Acura. That's gonna go.
You want precision crafted performance, is what I'm hearing.
I want the PMC edition. I want the exterior PMC, and I don't think we get that at Spring Hill. Like, I just don't think that's what they're capable
You
of.
get Saturn, the smell of Saturn.
Yes,
at
and
Spring Hill.
I just ugh.
What kind of car is that? It's a Saturn.
It's a different kind of company, Chad. It's a
It's
different
for a
kind of
different
car.
kind, a different kind of car company for a different type of car. Kind of car, yeah.
And that's how we got modern Ford. Okay.
Um.
Jim Farley worked for Scion. For those of you who don't understand.
Oh yes, that's
Yeah,
true.
I should make those dots.
But we were talking about Saturn. What does Scion have to do? Am I missing
Oh, I
something?
thought- no, I'm just tired. Go on.
We're all-
Eileen, lift both arms above your head, please. Can we
No, it
do a wellness check?
40, stop. All right.
Last EV I think worth talking about that sort of debuted there is the 2023 Kia EV6 North American Utility Vehicle of the Year Limited Edition. All right, so everybody made fun of the name, so I'm not going to continue to do that.
It's terrible.
It is a terrible name. For those who don't know, and a lot of polling data suggests that's most of you, the North American Car, Truck, and SUV awards are given out every year by a group of 50 journalists, and the EV6 won last year. So to pay, I guess,
on one of the awards,
one of the
not
awards,
all
the
of them.
SUV one.
Not overall
Yeah.
best in show, just one of the awards.
Yeah, the SUV one. So to pay homage to that, Kia's like, oh, we're gonna do a special edition. So there's a lot. There's cool things that I like about this car, which is it's a little bit of a mix of a GT line and a Wind. So I think it pulls some of the cooler things from the GT line. It's British racing green. It is gorgeous. It has the perfect. I keep calling it dog crap brown interior, but like when you think British racing green and brown interior, like this is the color combination. I think it looks excellent. It probably looks even better in person. It's a stellar combination. It's almost an auto journalist special, like if it was because it is kind of a wagon, so if it just had a manual transmission, you'd be all set. The only thing that really you'll be able to tell that this is a quote unquote special edition is if they limit this color combination only to these cars, they're going to do 1,000 of the cars. If they ultimately only offer it as the special edition, then you'll know it from the green and tan combo. But really, there's just a couple of badges near the gear selector that with a heat gun you could probably replace. But I think it looks great. The EV6 is a good car. I think that's
It's a very good car. I'm just curious why they chose to sort of pander to the knack toy group, which is because I don't know that there's ever been another knack toy partnership or branded vehicle before.
I haven't checked with them. I should send a message to Jeff at some point, Gilbert. And
Their
be
president.
like, yes, the president. He's also a very funny guy. It does need some more EV Pulse bumper stickers, Richard. I agree. We should have an EV Pulse Hyundai Ioniq 5. I think that should be our goal. But yeah, this might be the first time there's ever been like a special edition devoted to like a car award. I don't know if there's ever been like a Motor Trend edition. I mean, there've been really weird special editions back in the day. I mean, Eddie Bauer and stuff like that. So like it's not unheard of. It is a little weird, I'm not gonna lie, but I really do think if you look beyond the name on the Monroney and the couple of badges inside the car, I think it's a really cool trim level for a car that I think we all like at some level. So
can there be an EV Pulse Electric Vehicle of the Year award winner edition? Whatever.
I'm gonna push for that.
Based
I'm gonna push for that because I'm gonna show whatever automaker wins the press release from this. I'm gonna be like, look, this is what you guys gotta live up to. They're doing 1,000 of them, Richard. I think I said that once, but yeah, they're doing 1,000 of them. So there's a good chance you might see one out and about or on a used car lot in a few years from now, and you'll be like, I remember when they came out with that. The tartan interior, yeah, like tartan or houndstooth or something like that with the green, that would be a winner.
I will say that it looks beautiful in person. That
Oh, I bet
deep
that
forest
paint.
green with the desert beige interior is just stunning in person. It really is. I think it's the best spec they offered in with those. The black accents are done just right to the right key. And we've all spent time in it. I mean, I drove one of these across the country,
Yeah.
and the EV6 is an incredible vehicle. It's very comfortable. And just the charging ability of it are fantastic. I mean, we talked about 10 to 80%, and the small amount of time you can do that in compared to others.
Yeah,
When
if
the
you can
charger
find a
is
charger that works, that's 18 minutes.
Yeah.
I think the EV6, I think like the base non GT car, I think the base EV6 drives a little nicer than the base Ioniq 5. I have driven the EV6 GT, but we haven't driven the Ioniq 5N yet. But it'll be interesting to see how those two compare. But it's weird. It's a weird special edition. It's strange. It comes off maybe a little pandering-y, but which isn't even a word. But it's a fantastic color, and it's a very good car, and I'm sure they'll sell all of these.
So, Chad, you and I drove the EV6 GT together.
We did.
I think you and I had the same impression, which is just we were like, okay.
Yeah.
Why would I mean, it's
Shucks
fine.
almighty.
But
Yeah.
Willikers. Wow.
Yeah.
Gee, Willikers. I think it lacks a little bit of fizz. I was just telling Dave Parasak at Ford last week. He's like, what do you think the current batch of EVs are missing? And in some ways he was asking, what do you think we're kind of missing? And I said fizz. I think there's some fizz like with Mustang. I'm sorry, Mustang Mach-E. Because I don't think like Ben, our producer, has a Mach-E rear drive. I think it's fun. I think it's more exciting and entertaining than a lot of EVs out there. But you can tell it's definitely a first generation attempt. And as we get into this sort of second generation of EV sort of design and development, I think there's a lot of there's a good opportunity to add personality. And
I think that's something that the Mercedes is trying really hard. I know, you guys have driven EQE, and I think Craig, you've driven EQE AMG, right?
Next week I have. I'm in an EQE SUV this week. I get the AMG version of the SUV next week.
I forget they have a sedan and an SUV with the
exact. It's not confusing at all.
Name, yes. So I will say, like, I like the EQE a lot, and I think that the AMG version is really an interesting kind of take on that, because AMG, the dynamics of AMG are what make it AMG. Besides the power, it's the dynamics. And for that car, and I'm not going to spoil your drive in it, but I feel like I'm going to a little bit. I feel like the dynamics are there, but the power is an interesting play. And it's kind of like the opposite for EV6 GT, where it was, the power's there, but the dynamics were not quite what I wanted to be.
It's technically competent. Like you slam on the brakes, the car stops. I mean, on a track, like, and it steers in, and it does sort of all those things, but it lacks fizziness. Je ne sais quoi.
I just question why it exists, because the all-wheel drive EV6 is already so good. You're not getting that much additional performance or more features going.
Because car companies want to make more money, Craig.
Of course, but I'm just like, this car. There's not enough to separate it from the all-wheel drive.
The gulf
which is
between
fantastic.
the two, the gap between the two isn't as big as I thought it would be. I'm expecting, and based on some folks that I've talked to internally at Hyundai, I'm expecting the Ioniq 5N to be a much bigger gap between Ioniq 5 and the proper N car. But who knows? It might be just as exciting. I don't say it's not exciting, but not as fizzy as a carbonated beverage. So
Chad, if you had to choose, would you choose an Ioniq 5 or an EV6?
I'd get the Ioniq 6.
Craig, what would you choose?
What were the choices? I thought, was it Ioniq 5?
An Ioniq 5 or an EV6?
I would do the Ioniq 5.
And I chose the one car you didn't offer. But
I think, like, wait, what? I heard three vehicles. I'm like, wait, what?
I think the Ioniq 6 has driving dynamics closer to the EV6. And I do prefer the driving dynamics of the EV6 over the Ioniq 5. So if I had to pick between those,
is really freaking ugly.
You don't like the Ioniq 5? The Ioniq 6 you don't like?
I think it's ugly. I'm not a huge Ioniq 5 fan. I'm going to be honest with you. I get it, but I just don't like it. I'm a bigger EV6 fan, but still, like, I don't know. There's plenty of other EV. There's other EV fish in the sea I'd rather swim with.
Yeah, but between those two, I'd pick EV6. But I do like the range and efficiency that comes with a sedan. And I'm assuming Kia will at some point. I mean, EV9 is obviously there, which you've driven. Is their sort of next big EV in North America, but right.
If I had my druthers, it would be 100% the i-MiEV.
The i-MiEV.
I've seen one of those on the road, and I was
Yeah.
like, it was on the highway.
Is that a neighborhood electric vehicle?
I was like, what is that? What are you doing on the highway? Like,
What death wish?
here.
Attempted suicide, taking that on the highway.
Like this was like 2 years ago. It wasn't like that long ago.
Gee, like I thought those would have all degraded into dust by now.
Yeah.
They had like 12 miles of range when they were new. How is it even drivable now?
Not
you
so long they were exiting. So I think
I know somebody who kept one in really good shape. It's like purple. It was the purple color. It only lost like 20 miles of range, and it suffered through Chicago winters. Yeah, but like you start with 60, end up with 40. That's better than starting with 60 and ending up with 10.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying
the degradation is not too bad. You're right. Yeah.
But
especially in Chicago.
It was surprising. Yeah, it was really surprising being a Chicago car with.
Oh.
I think we lost Chad, but I was going to say the surprising thing with Chicago is that not the battery degradation, but the actual car degradation wasn't as bad. Like the salt, the grime, and all of that getting to it.
Well, and also, it didn't have the Dave Matthews Band bus on it either. So,
yeah.
And anybody
look at you get one for under 5,000, Chad. That should be the next EV Pulse car.
Yeah, if you
I
could
wouldn't
find
pay
one
$500 for one of those. They want $8,000.
I would watch so many videos of Craig going to visit grandmas in.
Oh yeah, that'd be a great grandma car.
It'd be fabulous. You could just pick up nanas from the library.
Pick up nanas from assisted living. Come on, gals, we're going to Old Country Buffet.
Fill them your hands. They'll be like, "That's the type of man I'm interested in. That old man can take care of me." Yes.
Man.
We're gonna get you married off here sooner or later.
Ben and I have been joking about having like a project car where we can add. I want to do a glide rocker instead of a driver's seat. Hear me out. Because every time you hit the accelerator, the glide rocker is going to slide back, which is going to lift your foot off the accelerator. And every time you hit the brake, you're going to slam on the brake because the glide rocker is going to slide forward. So now the challenge is, how do you drive this car smoothly?
Hand controls.
Yeah, well, there you go. Maybe.
So
or install a tiller instead of a steering wheel.
Probably no more difficult to drive than like a Model T. So, but speaking of EV6, first off, Eileen, thanks for joining us. And for those, you've heard my opinion on the EV6 GT. You've heard Eileen's opinion on the EV6 GT. But there's somebody on this panel that has driven the EV6 GT and has recorded a video about it. And I believe that he's even taking the wheels off of it. Look up. So if you would like to see Craig's full review of that, we're going to put a fancy little link on the screen right now.
I have to check this out.
Have I been sent outtakes yet? I like outtakes. Those are my favorite.